Thanks very much, David. For those of you who are interested, my website is spectator.co.uk/Melanie Phillips. Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better? Okay. For those of you who want to read my outpourings, you can find them at spectator.co.uk/Melanie Phillips. My own blog is on the website of the Spectator magazine, which is a small political magazine in Britain which punches very much above its weight and very kindly hosts me to amaze and horrify its readers. I'm going to talk to you today about Britain. Britain, that little lost country which fell off the end of Europe and is now finds itself stranded in the middle of the Atlantic, and to which America must pay the closest possible attention for two reasons. First of all, Britain is a very important link in the Western alliance to defend Western civilization, and my contention, as I outlined in my book Londonistan, is it is now a weak link, the weak link. And secondly, England, even though it is small, punches above its cultural weight. It is the mothership of English-speaking culture, and where Britain goes today, the rest of the English-speaking world goes tomorrow. And we in Britain take a lot from America, but we also give a lot to America. A lot of it has been good, and a lot of it now is bad. And your security establishment in particular is taking the worst possible lessons from ours about this threat, which we are all gathered here this weekend to discuss, and of which the campus jihad is both a symbol and, in Britain, much more than a symbol. In Britain, the universities are one of the key centres of radicalisation of British Muslims. In Britain, we have a major problem. Our British Muslim children, born and bred in Britain, are being radicalised in Britain by British institutions to an extent to which their parents are not radical. The normal trajectory of immigrants, that their children and their grandchildren become assimilated into the culture, is in reverse in Britain. They are being radicalized in Britain. And one of the means of radicalizing them is on campus, where institutions operating just below the radar are radicalizing them. Now, what is so horrifying is the scale of it. In 2005, a report by Professor Anthony Glees estimated that up to 48 British universities had been infiltrated by Islamist extremists. And we have a long list of Islamist terrorists who have been radicalized on British campuses and have gone on to blow up Israel, American targets, European targets, as well as British targets. Now, the really horrifying thing is that this is being done with the connivance of both the university authorities and the British government. We have a quite remarkable situation in Britain, where the British government, for reasons I don't have time to go into now, has decided that the way to fight Islamic radicalism is basically to absorb its narrative. It does not believe that we are facing a religious war. It believes that the terrorism that Britain is facing, and there are literally thousands and thousands of British Muslim young people who are in the terrorist ambit. We are facing something like 30 known major Islamist plots, and between 2,000 and 4,000 known individuals to the security service who are Islamist terrorists. That's known. So we know the extent of the problem. But the British government thinks that this is because these Muslims are being given a false interpretation of Islam. And so in order to provide the antidote to terrorism, which is not to be called Islamic terrorism, indeed our Home Secretary, our lead minister in the counter-terrorism area, has described the terrorism that we face as, quote, anti-Islamic activity. Just get your heads around that for a moment. This is what the British government says Islamic terrorism is in Britain. It is anti-Islamic activity. So the government has decided that the antidote to the anti-Islamic activity of the Islamic Jihad is to provide more Islam, real Islam, to British Muslims. So they will be led away from the error of their ways in pursuing the false Islam of al-Qaeda. And so they are using the Muslim Brotherhood to do that. They are using the Muslim Brotherhood against al-Qaeda. And there are many learned seminars in our Defense Department, our security establishment, about how it is very unsophisticated not to have this divide and rule mentality. After all, we are British, and we did run an empire on these lines. So the government actually thinks this can be delivered by Saudi Arabia. Various things follow. First of all, it refuses to ban Hizb ut-Tahrir. Now, Hizb ut-Tahrir is a group, a global group committed to the overthrow of Western civilization and its replacement by the caliphate. In certain countries, it believes in pursuing violence to achieve these ends. In other countries, it believes in not pursuing violence. It's a matter of tactics. In Britain, it does not pursue violence. It practices political Islamism. But the government believes that political Islamism is the antidote to violent Islamism. It believes that on the analogy of the Cold War, when it believes the intelligence communities of both Britain and America helped found and support organizations committed to socialism in order to divert impressionable and idealistic young people away from communism, so it can promote Islamism, Muslim Brotherhood, Saudi-backed, religious nutcases, who cares, to attract impressionable young British Muslims so that they won't join al-Qaeda and blow us up. The idea that there is a seamless trajectory between political Islam and al-Qaeda, that they are merely two sides of the same coin, two arms of the pincer of the Jihad movement, they will not accept. It doesn't occur to them. So the government is actually promoting Islamic centers attached to every university as a means of providing an antidote to al-Qaeda. As a result, it is very comfortable about the fact that the Saudi Arabians, that Saudi Arabia has provided to date something like £230 million sterling to fund the development of such Islamic centers and to provide Islamic studies, which the British government says, quote, is a strategically important subject in counter-radicalization, Islamic studies. Now, these Islamic studies are promoting anti-West, anti-America, anti-Israel, and anti-Jewish views. They also act as an umbrella for explicitly anti-Israel policy because they are provided in the ambit, the Islamic studies provide the overall umbrella for Middle East studies. And so, for example, at St. Antony's College, Oxford, which is